Dave, I'm the head coach here at Wimborne Amateur Boxing Club, and thanks very much for grabbing this video. As titled then, this video is going to talk to you about what positive defences are and how we can train positive defences using pads and gloves. So start with then, what is a positive defence? A positive defence is simply us throwing back shots after we've defended a shot from our opponent. Now the defence can be a foot defence, a head defence or a hand defence. But as long as we are throwing shots back straight after we've defended, we are then making the defence positive, which is what the judges ringside want to see. So we will look at one or two various positive defences against hand, foot and trunk defence in this video, but obviously there are plenty more. This is a level 1 video, so we'll be throwing single shots back, but again, as you get better, you can look at throwing more and more shots after you've defended. Okay, so we're going to move on to the first drill, which will see our boxer throw a 1-2 on the pads, take a little step back, catch the shot on the lead hand. So it is a foot defence. We are mainly using the feet to get out of range, but as soon as we feel the shot on our lead hand, that's when it gives us an invitation to throw a shot back. So you'll see the girls throw a 1-2, little step back, catch the shot on the lead hand, and then fire straight back away. Okay, so now we've had a look at distance, what the drill should look like. Let's go and take a look at what the pad holder should be doing and how they should be holding their pads. So as we take a look in a second, you'll note that the pad holder have the pads quite close together. They'll catch the first 2 shots on the pad. They'll return their lead shot, which the boxer will then catch on the glove. The pad will then have the rear pad ready to take the shot, and then the pads will go back to the start and the whole drill will repeat. And obviously you can do this as many times as you like, or you can do it for a 2-minute round. And like I say, as you get better at the drill and the technique starts to improve, then maybe you want to add a couple more shots. But to begin with, start with a 1-2, pad holder throw the jab, then catch the rear hand as the boxer positively defends the jab. Okay, so the last video is looking at basically the pad holder's perspective. So looking at it as if you were the pad holder. This will give you a good idea of what the boxer should be doing, what the boxer should look like, how far the boxer should be stepping back, what you should be doing with your hands, what the boxer should be doing with their hands. And like I said, it just gives you a last video, a last check to make sure that you're doing everything correctly for your boxer. So enjoy the last video and then do this drill as many times as you can. The real big thing for us as coaches is that the boxer doesn't take too big a step back. If you're not catching that shot on your lead hand because you're too far back, it means you missed the opportunity to turn that into a positive defence, so you missed the opportunity to counter punch. So make sure you're only stepping back far enough for that for that shot to hit your lead hand, so that you can get back into range and fire off your shot almost immediately. So like I say, practice, practice, practice. Once you're happy, let's take a look at the next drill. The next drill is all about trunk defence. So we call it trunk defence, but in theory it's head defence. You're moving your head out of the way, using your trunk to not get hit. So when this happens, the feet stay perfectly still. Really important coaching tip. Make sure the feet aren't moving if the head is. We want to hold the feet, move the head, stay in range, let the hands go. So we're going to do the real basic head defence, and all the shots are exactly the same as they were in the very first drill. So boxer is going to throw a 1-2. They're then going to slip outside the lead hand of the pad holder, and then they're going to make it positive by coming back with a rear hand. So it's exactly the same punches. It's a 1-2, slip, and a rear hand straight, holding the feet. So the first video you're going to see is the girls doing it at distance, and then we'll break it down into the pad holder and the boxer's perspective. Okay, so you've seen it from distance, you've seen the girls throwing the shot, slipping and returning fire. Now let's see a video from the boxer's perspective. So this will give you a really good idea as a pad holder, where the pad should be, how you should be holding and where you should be throwing the shots, and what the whole drill should look like if you're holding the pads. Sorry, if you're a boxer and you have a pad holder. So as a pad holder, this is what you should look like. So let's take a look. Okay, so you probably saw there that the pad holder was keeping the pads close together. They were firm enough so the pads weren't flying everywhere. Then when they were firing their jab, they threw it straight at the boxer's head. End of the day, if you're throwing it over the boxer's shoulder rather than their head or towards their head, they're never going to know if they're slipping enough. I guarantee if they're caught with the first shot, the second slip that they do will be a lot more positive and will definitely make you miss. So it's real important that you do throw shots at the head. Okay, so the last video we're going to move on to is from the pad holder's perspective. So if you're holding pads, this is what you should see your boxer doing. So please watch this, take a note of what our boxer's doing, and then when you are on pads, take a look and see if your boxer's doing anything that they shouldn't be. Mainly dropping the hands, or a real important one, rather than slipping forwards into the sideways and slightly forwards and keeping the weight down the centre. You'll see this a lot. They'll slip and they'll drop all the way to the back foot, and it's here. The punch usually ends here, rather than slipping the shot and it coming over the shoulder. So rather than the shot coming over the shoulder, they drop the weight back and it's kind of a slip and the punch is here. Puts you out of range, doesn't put you in, but it doesn't give you the balance that you need or the speed that you need to throw that positive backhand to finish off. So that's all the videos on the slip drill, the slip and counter drill, making it positive. So practice, 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 and I keep saying that, but it's so important that you just don't do it a couple of times and then move on to the next one. You've got to set patterns, which means you've got to do the same thing repeatedly, to keep doing it until you've got it, and then you can move on to the next drill. Okay, so we've had a look at making foot defense positive, and we've also had a look at making a head defense positive. So now let's move on to making a hand defense positive. Again, there's a load of different types of hand defenses, but we're going to stick with the basic one, which is catching a hook and returning 2 shots of our own. So we're going to start, as we've started all the other drills, with a 1-2. Our pad holder's then going to throw, in this case, a lead hook at us. We're going to catch the lead hook with our rear hand, turning away from the punch just slightly if we can. That creates that pre-coil, as I call it, to come back in with our own lead hook and backhand. Again, because we're using the hands for defence, we don't need to move the feet. So we're going to hold the ground, throw our shots, catch their counter shot, and then come back with 2 more of our own. So again, here are the girls showing you the drill from distance. So you can see exactly as we mentioned, the boxer is throwing a couple of shots, is then defending the pad that's coming in, and then returning with her own counter punches, her left hook and her right hand in this case. So you'll see in a second what the drill should look like from the boxer, and then what the drill will look like from the pad holder. Some of the things just to be aware of is making sure that we use the open part of the pad, that we're not moving that we're not hitting our boxer side on with the hardest part of the pad. So keeping that nice open part of the pad as the part of the pad that we're going to use to throw the shot with, or to land the shot with. Making sure that our boxer, when they're catching the shot, in this case anyway, there are times where you might do what I'm about to say don't do, but in this case anyway, just making sure that when we're bringing the hand up to catch the shot, that, as we call it, we're just always touching yourself. Alright, so you're just going to bring the hand up so it catches the temple, as opposed to giving it the old karate chop. Now there are times where your rear hand may come out slightly, but we can go into that on later videos. On this video, simply I want you to catch the shot with the rear hand, twist away slightly, making sure your lead hand stays up, and then coming straight back in with your lead hook and your backhand. Okay, so again, watch the next few videos, it'll give you a slightly different kind of perspective on how the drill should look, and then have a go yourself. Okay, so like I say, you've seen all the videos and you've hopefully now had a go yourself. So a few different things, like I say, to keep in mind. Making sure that when you're catching the shot, you're not twisting too much, you're just rolling with the punch slightly. Making sure you're not giving it the old karate chop. Making sure you're not moving the feet back whilst also trying to catch the shot. They're the main things. And as a pad holder, making sure we keep the pads to form one person, making sure we're using the open part of the pad when we're throwing the shot, and making sure the pads are where they should be when our boxer wants to counter punch. So you probably saw, like I say, with the pad, let's go back a little bit, with the pad, so they use the open part of the pad, they catch the shot on the glove, and then it's using the same pad to bring back for their left hook and right hand. You probably already saw that, I just thought I'd add it quickly. Great drill, again, keep practicing it, nail it. Once you've got a hang of it, you might want to bring in another shot at the start or another shot at the end, that's completely up to you. But make sure you get the technique nailed before you move on to the last drill. The only other head defence or trunk defence that we did in this video was this slip, where we moved the head off the firing line to prevent ourselves being hit with a straight shot. This time we're going to look at moving the head Again, it's going to move off the firing line, but it's also going to change in height to allow us to not be hit with a hook. This defence does work against straight shots as well, but normally you're going to see it with a hook. So we call this a roll. So you're going to see our boxer throw a 1-2. Again, they're going to start the same way they started all the other drills, with a 1-2. Our pad holder is going to throw the lead hook like they just done on the last drill, but rather than catch it with a glove, hold the feet, bend the knees and roll underneath the shot. This is really about transferring the weight from the front to the back foot. And to make the shot, to make the defence positive, as soon as we come back up the other side, we let go of the shot. So it's, like I said, it's one thing to make them miss, but we've got to be looking at throwing the counter punch. That is them making the defence positive. So you'll see the drill now. The girls will throw the 1-2. The boxer will throw the 1-2 at the pad holder. Pad holder will keep the pads again in a small sort of target area in front. She will then throw, the pad holder will then throw a nice swinging left hook in. As she does that, the boxer will then drop. So straight after they've thrown the right hand and retracted it back, they'll drop underneath the shot. All right, transferring the weight from front to back. And as soon as they come up the other side, the pad will be there, the rear pad will be there, boom, and they'll let that right hand go. Okay, so have a watch of the girls, and then have a go yourselves. Okay, so again, we're going to go on to the last two videos of the same drill, so you can see it from the boxer's perspective and also the pad holder's perspective. But you probably saw there, from distance, the girls holding the pads in a smaller target, good bit of weight behind the pads so they weren't flying everywhere. Again, real important part, that when you do throw the hook, you're not throwing it over the head. You see it all the time with pad holders. They'll throw like, they'll catch the 1-2, the pad holder will throw the hook at their boxer and give it one of these, okay? Doesn't help your boxer. Your boxer doesn't know if they go low enough, your boxer could stand there and not get hit. So it's not teaching them anything. So making sure that you're throwing that pad right towards their chin height, exactly where a punch, or their temple height, exactly where a punch is going to be aimed for. All right, they'll be able to move underneath, making sure they're transferring the weight onto the rear leg, rear foot, boom, and then letting go of the backhand. All right, so you probably, well, hopefully saw that from the last video. Here's two more of the same drill from different perspectives, two more videos of the same drill from different perspectives. Have a watch, and again, have another go. Okay, so we're moving on to the final drill of the video. So we've done at the start a foot defence, we then followed up with a head defence, a hand defence. The previous drill we've just done was another head defence. So we're going to finish off how we started with a foot defence. So things to be aware of are making sure your hands do stay up when you move the feet, and making sure you do not step, in this case, too far across or step backwards and out of range. So the drill we're going to work on for the final part of the video is throwing a 1-2, same way we started all the drills, and then pushing off the lead foot across the opponent to the outside of them, sorry, not across them, to the outside of them as they throw their jab, creating the angle for our rear hand. So you'll see why now it's important not to be stepping out of range, otherwise you get the Superman effect. You can imagine you're in range here, as you've pushed to the side, you've pushed back, and now you're out of range, so this starts to happen. You're falling through on the shot to try to make up the distance because you've stepped out of range and not moved the feet back in. So important that when we do this drill, we throw the 1-2, we step across into the outside of our opponent, but we stay in range so we can throw the rear hand. So on the pads, pretty much how we've thrown them for quite a few of the drills. Hold them for a 1-2, send your jab straight back at your boxer, who will step across and have the rear pad ready to take the counter, making it, guess what, a positive defence. So this time we're going to play all 3 videos one after the other, so you can have a good watch, and then we'll have a quick chat at the end. Okay, so you saw the defence, the positive defence, using the feet, so throwing their first initial 2 shots, stepping across our opponent to the outside of them, and then letting go of the rear hand. You should have seen that the pads stay nice and close, so they form one target, and the jab comes out towards our opponent's head, making sure that if they didn't move the feet, or if they had their hands down and moved them a bit late, they would take the pad to the chin, which it does sound a little bit brutal. However, I bet you the second time they do that drill, they'll actually move fast enough and they'll have the hands up and they'll move correctly in how we want them to go and how we want them to move. So like I say, it's real important that we don't just move the feet and get out of danger, that we are balanced enough to then throw the positive defence and give the judges what they want to see, which is us dominating the bout. So that's all 5 videos done for you, so please go back and watch them again and drill them and drill them and drill them. You can't drill these enough. Hope you took lots from the video, and I'll see you again real soon.